everybody. Ken Ryan's my name. I'm the current president of the Coffs Harbour Men's Shed. First, I would like to acknowledge the Gombidji people, traditional custodians of the land on which we live and work, and pay our respects to the elders, past and present. Also, a little housekeeping. Over there, straight ahead of me, is the toilets, and preferably we keep those for the ladies, and there's also wheelchair disability access in there for those toilets. Up the side there at the back, we've got a couple of portable toilets, and preferably if the gentlemen could use those, it'd be fine. Thanks very much. Also in the building, you'll see the emergency exits are pretty well marked all around all the doors, so if we need that sort of thing, that they're all marked around there. On behalf of the members of the Coffs Harbour Community Men's Shed, welcome you all to the grand opening of a new workshop for the Coffs Harbour Community Men's Shed. Special guests here today are Mayor Denise Knight, who has kindly agreed to declare our shed officially open. Mr. Gurman Singh MP, State Member for Coffs Harbour. We have Peter Murphy, who was the shed's first manager, and it's great to see you, Peter. Thanks very much for coming along. Paul Kelly, our first president. Paul here. Past presidents David Churchyard and Ellen Larkin, and Anne King Scott, whose husband Derek was our first life member. Also up here on the stage with me is John Gregory, who is our current treasurer, who's paying the money for all this here. So thank you. You've got long pockets and short arms. I've got a few apologies, I'll just go through them quickly. Honourable Luke Hartseger MP, Alan Friedman from Sawtell Rotary, Peter Fairclough, who was represented here today by Peter Richardson from Fairclough and Reynolds, Wendy Andrews from the Coffs Coast Advocate, Craig Spencer from FM Glen Constructions, Heather Reid from the Coffs Harbour City Council, Pat Faggoter, who was one of the inaugural board meetings of the shed, and Paul Baker from the Coffs Railway Modellers. What I'm going to do now is call on Paul Kelly to give a presentation. Paul is the CEO of Chess Connect at the moment, and without Chess, I don't think this men's shed would have existed, because they played a very, very major role in the establishment of the men's shed when we were in Marcy Street. So Paul, would you like to come as a talk? Thanks very much.
Yes, good morning everyone, guests, members of the Men's Shed. G'day Peter. G'day. Mate, what memories, Peter Murphy and John Mandel. I've been introduced as one of the first presidents, but I need to qualify that. The concept I think originally was from a group of local men, but it was Chess in partnership with Rotary. That made the start in 2010, and probably the planning there, and I know that was John Mandel and Peter Murphy, and then there was from the Rotary side Ken Howe and many of the others. I don't want to miss anyone out. Peter was, as the manager, was an employee of Chess, and at the time men's sheds were growing and everyone had the vision. It was very, very difficult here at Coffs. The other communities had the availability of surplus sheds in the community that those groups were happy to take on as their facility. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case here in Coffs. We had to take on commercial premises and pay commercial rent for the men's shed. So whilst Chess and Rotary and many others and a very, very generous community supported the shed, it was the commitment of the men to actually manage an operation, a commercial operations, and I know at some of the meetings we'd say, well, is this what a men's shed is all about? We very quickly concluded, no, it's not, but it had to be done. So, this wonderful facility, it's just amazing. Even in the old facility, I know the Coffs Harbour Men's Shed was always looked upon as one of the standout men's sheds in Australia in terms of achieving its reason for being, that important purpose and engagement for men, and also in a lot of other areas and facilities for women as well. That whole concept around wellbeing. So this is, I was thinking, it was worth the wait. Well, it was a lot more than that. The dedication, there was a little bit of a jive from Ken at John Gregory, but to get this, there was enormous financial management required for a volunteer organisation. So well done to the committee, and I know John, to yourself and the previous committees to do that. And I see it's wrong to single out people, but from my recollections, I had the wonderful opportunity to work with the group, and I know in terms of the commercial operation, Tony Gamini was always very, very busy with looking at projects and taking on jobs, and we often say, are we doing the right thing here? But it had to be done, and this is the result, and it's just amazing. You were always seen as a model and as a standout, and it will even more so today to have the facility. So I know the men shed are very grateful to Coffs Harbour City Council, especially. They really had to think differently. As I say, it was a much bigger challenge just due to circumstances of assets and what was available and what wasn't available. And during all that period of time, the men stuck with it. They really did. And in terms of the mentorship and support and actually training people in woodwork as well. And and I know that was a focus for Peter Murphy in the very, very early days. So my role was to get them established as a standalone organisation, their own incorporated association, which was a big step, I think, that it wasn't to be a part of someone else, it was to be its own identity. So on behalf of Chess, we really want to thank the Men's Shed and its members in the communities for having the opportunity to work with you in the early days. But boy, you really picked the ball up on your own following that, and what you've done for your members in the communities it's just nothing short of outstanding. And I know you don't need me to say that, but Mayor, I know you know, we have got one hell of a Men's Shed. So congratulations, thanks for the chance to come along today and to catch up with everyone, the familiar faces. It's just simply magic. Well done.
Thanks very much, Paul. Just carrying on a bit from where Paul sort of touched on the involvement of Chess and Rotary in the initial Men's Shed. That was in 2013 when Chess completed their financial support with the Men's Shed when we became incorporated and self-funding. The commercial strain in 2014, when the shed took responsibility for its rent, that was quite considerable. Full credit must be paid to the members who shouldered the burden and made a huge contribution to the shed's finances. The concept for this new shed here began in 2015, and the number of members had grown and the location in Marcy Street was no longer large enough. Coupled with the high rent payable, it was difficult to cover the operating costs. This pressure put on our members when our priority is mainly for their health and well-being, not to have them under pressure. They were there for relaxation and working and doing their own skills rather than having to be put under pressure to try and pay the bills. Coffs City Council was then approached and asked to provide land for the shed of our own. After careful consideration, a parcel of land, being this block of land here on the bulk storage area belonging to the council, that was offered to us. So we went and sought some funding, and plans were submitted for an erection of an 800 square metre shed, what this is here now. The new shed project commenced in February 2016 with the Mayor Denise Knight and the then President David Churchyard team. The first sod 2 months later on the 28th of April. Soon after we saw the laying of the slab, which consisted of 102 cubic metres of concrete. Very large pour of concrete. I think I lost the microphone. I don't know what's happening there. I might have got a float back. Can anybody hear me? I have to continue on without, I'm sorry. The first stage was funded by the New South Wales Government as part of the 2011 Community Building Partnership Program and backed up by a grant from the Coffs Harbour City Council. That was our infrastructure grants program. And subsequent to that, we got a further grant from the same people, Coffs Harbour City Council, and that paid for the building of that mezzanine you see up there. The erection of the shed was completed in January 2017 by New Style Sheds. And the fit out commenced soon after and would not have been possible without the wonderful financial product support from the people gathered here today. The members of the shed are most grateful for your very generous support, and if I may make special mention of Nan and Les Cowling, Warren Skinner of Coffs Toyota and Pier Hotel, and the Coffs Harbour City Council have been very, very special supporters and very generous in their support of the men's shed. We relocated in May 2017 and there's been a long journey to reach what we have here now. As with any new building, we were required to meet building codes and regulations, and with advice and assistance from Mick Raby and Peter Crawford from the council, we achieved all the requirements in December last. I must put a big vote of thanks to Mick and Peter because they've been supporters all the way through. Thanks very much, guys. And also to several of our own very skilled members who provided the construction expertise to do all the work. This shed now has about 170 members, and there are some important projects we have on the wish list and hope to be able to achieve them in the near future. The mezzanine area, what you see up there, is limited to storage at present, and stage 2 of that is to make it habitable with crafts, recreation and meeting rooms. To achieve this, the mezzanine requires air conditioning which will provide ventilation to that area, a lift to make it accessible to everyone, and floor coverings. We have commenced fundraising for these, and with part of the air conditioning cost by way of a grant from the federal government through the Australian Men's Shed Association. Also on the list is the installation of a fully ducted dust extraction system to replace the several standalone units scattered around the building, which you can see up the other end there, they're all over the place. The proposed system will have the collection equipment external to the building and will provide a much healthier working environment. The list also has several other items which will benefit the members, and a lot of this will include replacement of some of the old machines we have up there. Even though they're in good working condition, some of them would be very close to not being passed by work and health and safety of this time. So that is part of our project, is to replace some of those machines up there. Our men's shed is also host to several groups of disadvantaged men who visit us on a weekly basis. Coffs Harbour Support Service is one of these, and bring up to 6 gentlemen who are under care with either mental or physical disabilities. A number of other external organisations currently use the shed. These include Respite and Recreation, Northcott Disability Services and Dads in Distress. We provide them with a workplace where they can do a number of tasks under the supervision of their carers, who themselves have also been inducted into our shed. The membership is increasing steadily, and with the extra facilities I have outlined, the shed will have the ability to attract more members and advance the health and well-being of men in the Coffs Coast region, and who in the company of other men can pursue many activities. We have some members who come here with anxiety, depression, etc., and I'm currently negotiating with New South Wales Health, who are going to provide us with some training for a few of our members, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to these guys who come here suffering and show them, suggest avenues of help for them in the future. Not only do the new members bring new skills and bring new skills, they learn new skills here also, but talk shoulder to shoulder with other men, and we found that guys sitting around that table over there smoke time will probably talk about things they probably don't talk about at home. It's all true. And we regularly have visits by health professionals come and have a talk to us for half an hour, usually during smoko. I think just recently we had a health professional only a couple of weeks ago. It was also actually talking about the subject of men's mental health and things like that, depression and anxiety. So that's about where we are now, ladies and gentlemen. Now I think I'd like to invite Mayor Denise Knight to speak and declare the shed officially open and the one bar of the playground.
Am I turned on? That woke you all up, didn't it? Good morning and again. Firstly, I too would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Gumbaynggirr people, their elders both past and present, and any future elders that are before me. I'd like to acknowledge the gorgeous Gurmesh Singh, our new state rep, which is great. General Manager Steve McGrath. I have a councillor here, Paul Amos. Put your hand up there. There you are, because he's in blue, I can't find him. Mick Raby and all the staff that have been involved in this, the council staff, and Peter Crawford especially, because everyone's talking about you and saying how wonderful you are. So thank you. Congratulations everybody for all the hard work that's gone into this. When we first initiated the Community Capital Infrastructure Grants program a few years ago, this is exactly what we had in our mind. So $230,000 was the grant funding to this project. Plus, Council also provided provision of the land, the staff resources in the areas for the project, management, engineering support and financial management of the project. Now, the money's already been spent, God love them, they're fast, straight up to the mezzanine. So, when I first came into this, I'm just off script for a minute, General Manager. When I first came into this building, my job was to just, come in, say hello. And I noticed at the door there was a big, thick yellow line. And I was mucking around and just standing at the yellow line, and some palooka came out and said, that's to keep women out. I said, well, okay, we won't be getting any funding from me. Then they asked me to put up a door. Does anyone remember? Yeah. And I thought, well, I'm at the men's shed, can't they bloody do it? So they've strapped this belt on me with a screwdriver and stuff like that, and then they've sort of half hooked the door up. So there I am screwing the thing in, and they didn't give me the right gear, of course. Hence the yellow line back at the door. So the thing nearly fell down on me, but look, it was just great to be here and to chat, and I've been down on more than one occasion. In fact, I come down fairly frequently. This morning, my daughter rang me from Sydney, and these days when the kids get married and they have like a big box where you're supposed to put money in at the wedding, because they don't want presents anymore, they just want money because they've all been living together for 10 years. So she's got like this box, and it's like a little doll's house sort of thing. So she rang me this morning and she said, Mum, you going to the men's shed? I said, why? It's like, can you lend me money? Why? So she said, that big letterbox thing that we had at the wedding, do you think they could make a doll's house out of it? Or could Dad do it? I said, I'll take it to the men's shed. Because there's a lot of dads there that are so much better. And this is what the men's shed is all about. This morning when I pulled up, I had it in the boot. I flicked the back of the boot up and I said to one of the guys, what do you reckon you could make a doll's house out of this? And he said, no worries, leave it with us. And that's what the men's shed is about. It is about mental health, it is about networking, it is about tinkering. I'm trying to get my husband down here to get him out from under my feet, and I think he would enjoy it very much, to come down and just be with a bunch of blokes. And you're right, when you're together you talk about things that you wouldn't normally talk about. So it is about camaraderie, it's about healing, it's about just being part of the community, and everyone knows what a great group of guys are down here, and I'm so glad that council was able to help to pull this together. So thank you very much.
Just before we get Denise to unveil the plaque there, I'll finish that little story about screwing the door on the wall. It was actually that door over there, remember?
It was a toilet door.
Right there. And as a matter of fact, Denise was here a few weeks ago with Ramesh and Luke and a few people just having a look at where we're at with the shed. And the first thing Denise asked me, she says, that door still hanging up on the wall there. As a matter of fact, yes it is, and it's still secure. So you must have done a good job. Well done. Okay, what we'll do now, we'll go down there, we've got the plaque on the easel there, and we'll get Denise to unveil the plaque which commemorates the opening of the shed today.
Great, thank you.
Am I on my name?
I'll come.
I don't want to muck
We
it
might
up.
have to get some screwdrivers and span it down. Just lift it up and take it down. There you go, simple as that. Community Men's Shed Incorporated officially opened on May the 3rd by Mayor Denise Knight, Coffs Harbour City Council. So thanks very much, mate. What I'm going to do now is call on John Gregory. John's going to give a vote of thanks to the Mayor for coming in and doing the honours for us this morning. Thanks, John.
On behalf of the 169 active members in the shed today, I'd like to send a big vote of thanks to the Mayor and her team, who have really been superb in helping us get this shed off the ground. And as a little token of our appreciation, I'd like to give to Denise, or present to Denise, of today, which is the same inscription on the plaque. It is a chopping board. Yeah. It is a bit heavy, so I'll be very careful as I hand it over.
There's a stand on the bench there to go and Denise takes it down. Put it on the stand in the kitchen. Yeah.
I feel guilty about the doll's house.
Okay, thanks for that, John. That magnificent plaque and the writing on the board was done by Robert Houston, our manager here. So, where is Rob? Robert, come up here for a minute, please. Yeah, Robert has been a volunteer manager for a number of years with the assistance of David Churchyard. Robert has been a very passionate and tireless shed member for about 8 years, and his input into what we have today was immeasurable. Robert gets involved in everything, and he's handy on the computer, he's handy with tools, and he's a good designer, engineer, whatever you want to call it. Robert can do it. I won't get him to say too much because he's got a very strong Scottish dialect, and some of the members here don't understand him. To recognise Robert's dedication to the running of the shed, the management committee has decided to confer on him life membership. Thanks. There's a certificate here from Robert that says, in recognition of distinguished service of Robert Houston, volunteer shed manager, by the management committee of the Coffs Harbour Community Men's Shed, hereby confers on him honorary life membership. Congratulations. Like Ken says.
What'd you say?
I won't say too much, thanks very much for that, it's really much appreciated, and I do love doing what I do at the shed, and we all do. That's why we do it and why we come here. We've got a great shed. We're in contact with lots of other sheds, and everyone's really impressed when they come visiting us, and the guys in here just do a great job. Thank you. Also, I'd like to give a big thank you to Margaret Bonfield and her team at Special Occasions. They supplied all this setting up of the venue, supplied all the furniture, all the equipment, the tables and chairs over there, the bar and everything. So thanks to Margaret and her team, very much appreciated. I can't finish without a big thank you to my management committee and the shed members who have helped prepare for this day. They've been toiling around here since Monday, getting rid of all the dust and making it a more healthier place for all you people to come down to. But everybody who comes into this shed in the last few days have remarked how clean and how nice it looks. And I can guarantee you by next Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be back to where it was last week. But no, that's it. So that concludes the official part of today's activities. I'd like to now invite you all to inspect the workshop, then join the committee for there's nice refreshments over there. There's a bar up there, got some nice soft drinks and lolly water and stuff up there. So if you come and join us there, and if you just stay seated for me and the Mayor and we just make our way through there, then and you can join us all with having a look at the shed and join us in refreshments, to some food and some drink. Thanks very much for your attendance.
I'm going to Kansas City, here I come. I'm going to Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. I'm gonna be standing on the corner of 12th Street and Vine. I'm gonna be standing on the corner of 12th Street and Vine. With my Kansas City baby and my bottle of Kansas City wine. Well, I might take a train, I might take a plane. If I have to walk, I'm gonna get there just to sing, yeah. Kansas City, here I come. There's the crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. Mr. Music. I'm going to Kansas City, here I come. I'm going to Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, and I'm going to get me some. I'm going to be standing on the corner of 12th Street and Vine. I'm gonna be standing on the corner of 12th Street and Vine. With my Kansas City baby and my bottle of Kansas City wine. Well, I might take a train, I might take a plane. If I have to walk, I'm gonna get there just to say, yeah. Kansas City, here I come. Because the crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. Because the crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. One more.